There's something I've noticed on social media, especially Facebook and Pinterest, and especially with women. And that is, no, it's not it's just one of those things that we notice. And that is, we always see these new fancy recipes or fancy little crafts or ways to make your cupcakes better for your kids and all these other things. And sometimes what I like to do is go and look and see people try. And I have a good laugh, and because we end up with things like this, where it's supposed to be this cute little rubber ducky cupcake, and you have the vampire ducks from Mars. I mean, yeah, we end up with things like Afro turkey. I mean, I don't know. It's my very favorite one of all of them is the Cookie Monster cookies. The creature of the Blue Lagoon consuming something. I don't know. But it's these kinds of things that I've noticed. And what I've noticed is you have professionals or near professionals put up these things. And then you have other people come and try, and they end up with that. But it doesn't just happen with cooking. It happens with crafts. It happens with what you should do with your kids in the summer. And what happens is we get bogged down in all these things. And we think, oh, well, they can do that, but I couldn't. And what will people think if I can't measure up to that? See, we get bogged down in what others think or what we think that others think. Or we get stuck in what we are expecting of ourselves. And we feel bad when we can't hit that mark, when we mess up. When we give it our all and we're thinking, I'm going to make a great, cute Cookie Monster cupcake, and I end up with the creature from the Blue Lagoon. Just women especially are put under enormous pressure. I see a couple things like this that have to do with guys, but not as much. I think mainly because in general, guys are like, I really don't care what you think. Can I eat it? Fine. But there's this enormous pressure, especially on women, to be the every woman. You have to be the tiger mom, the Pinterest expert. You have to do all these things and be all these things, and if you don't measure up, then somehow you're not good enough. And it's a losing battle. Because, if you're a working mother, then you must not care about your kids as much. Oh, you do work? That's not good. But if you're a stay-at-home mom, well, then obviously, it must not be important for your children to realize that women can do whatever they want. It's a losing battle. And it's something that we constantly see. Oh, you only feed your kids organic? You sure waste a lot of money. You let your kids eat Gerber baby food? How dare you? It's a losing battle. You can't win that. Guys, you're not immune to this either. You work how many hours? You must not be a family man. Oh, you only work that much? You must be lazy. It happens. You can't win this fight. And what happens when we base our worth on that, we end up feeling useless and worthless and like we can't get anywhere. But like I said, I noticed this more. I noticed these types of things more. This pressure more with women, which is why we're talking about a woman's worth today. Guys, like I said, this applies to you, so pay attention. I want to encourage you today to not fall into this trap. That your worth is somehow dictated by something out here. That your worth is somehow dictated by how cute your ducky cupcakes came out, or how well your children are behaved, or what kind of car you drive, or how big your house is, or whether you eat organic or the cheapest thing you can find. I want to encourage you to get out of that trap, because there is one thing, that is truly important. There's one. And if you are basing your self-worth on anything except for that one thing, it's time to wake up and recognize the worth that you do have because of that one thing. If you turn to Luke chapter 10, we have a very familiar story about Mary and Martha. And in Luke chapter 10, starting in verse 38, we read, "Now it happened, as they went, that he entered a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha welcomed him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary, who also sat at Jesus' feet and heard his word. But Martha was distracted with much serving. And she approached him and said, 'Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Therefore, tell her to help me.' Jesus answered and said to her, 'Martha, Martha, you are worried and troubled about many things, but one thing is needed, and Mary has chosen that good part, which will not be taken away from her.'" Martha, I think, tends to get kind of a bad rap because of this one passage. Usually it's, well, Martha was distracted and she chose the bad thing, and Jesus had to correct her, so she just wasn't quite there. I don't think that's the intention here. Notice who came and greeted him and welcomed him into her house. It was Martha. Notice who is having the heart of a servant and fulfilling the role that she's expected to fill. If you had 13 guys just show up at your door, "Hey, we're coming in," you might be under a little pressure too. But she is taking the time to serve her guests, to work hard to provide for their needs. She is doing a good thing here. But she messes up when she gets her priorities mixed up. Because that's not what Jesus was after at that point. It is always a good thing to serve. It is always a good thing to have a servant's heart and to provide for the needs of others. That's a good thing. That's something that we're told to do in Scripture. But in this case, Jesus has to gently correct her and show her the better way. And we're not immune from it either. See, we can get stuck in these loops of, oh, well, I got to get the kids to school, and that one got sick, so I got to take him to the doctor. The car is starting to break down, so I got to get it taken. The Meals on Wheels aren't going to deliver them themselves, so I got to get that taken care of. And we go on, and and there's pantry this Saturday, followed by the the ladies' breakfast at the same time, and I've got to go and run did this, and there's camp cleanup, and we go and go and go and go. And we never stop to sit at the feet of the Master and hear what he's wanting to tell us. You see, there's one thing that is truly important. And that one thing is sitting at the feet of the Master and listening to what he has to say so that we can follow him. Yes, we need to be serving and going out and taking care of things and fulfilling the role that God has placed before us. But before we go out to run, we need to stop and hear the Master. It's recorded that Martin Luther once said that I have so much to get done that if I don't pray for 3 hours this morning, I won't get any of it done. Now I read that and I'm like, 3 hours? 3 hours? I won't get anything done if I spend 3 hours. Well, yeah, you will. See, it's placing what is most important first. Because when we put what is most important first, the rest will, by and large, fall into place. If you turn to John chapter 11, we see the other side of Martha. Now, from the research that I've been able to find, it looks like this is sometime after what happened in Luke. And in John chapter 11, Lazarus has died. Her brother has died. And they've buried him. It is a very emotional time. And so in John chapter 11, starting verse 20, John writes, "Now Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met him. But Mary was sitting in the house. Now Martha said to Jesus, 'Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that whatever you ask of God, he will give you.' Jesus said to her, 'Your brother will rise again.' Martha said to him, 'I know that he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day.' Jesus said to her, 'I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he may die, he shall live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this?' She said to him, 'Yes, Lord. I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who has come into the world.'" You want to talk about a woman of faith. Her brother has died just about 4 days earlier. She's the one to go and find Christ when she hears that he's coming. And she says, "He wouldn't have died if you were here. I know you could have healed him. But I know that God will still work through you. I know that you are still who you say you are." This is one of the earliest confessions, full confessions of Christ that we have. But notice, she doesn't ask for Lazarus back. She doesn't say, "I know that God will give you whatever you want, so bring him back already." It's not what she says. But she does believe in his ultimate good. She does believe that at the last day, he will rise again. She's a woman of faith, and she's a woman who recognizes that there is one thing needed. There is one thing that can get her through this time. There is one thing that she needs to do. And that is to go and speak to the Master. That is to go and put herself before him. A lot of times when we pray, we kind of Facebook whitewash some things because we don't want to bring the deepest and darkest before the Master. And so we'll pray in the same way that we do Facebook statuses. Oh, great day today. Things are wonderful. Look at this nice picture. By the way, my cupcakes look like vampire ducks from Mars. Understand that God loves us as his children. Not as some far-off stranger, but as his sons and daughters. And while he does have high expectations of us, he does not hate us when we fail them. I do not hate my children when they fail to live up to my expectations. If Liam gets mad and throws a fit in the store, I don't hate him for it. I correct him and help him through it. If Hayden comes out at 2:30 in the morning because he got scared, I don't hate him for it. Nor does God hate us. But instead, he loves us as his own children. See, we are loved by God because we are created to be the recipients of his love. And he is not after the whitewashed Facebook version of you. He's not after the Pinterest version of you. He's not after the Tiger Mom version of you. He's after you. In all your good parts and bad parts, in all your faults and things you get right. And he's after you so that he can perfect you by his power. You do not have the strength to do it all. You do not have the strength to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and walk the perfect walk, and everything is fine because you're going to do it, and you're under your power, and rawr. There's one who can perfect us. There's one who can give us the strength that we need. And God wants you because he loves you. And because of that, there's one thing that matters for us, and that is him. And so I want to encourage you today to stop comparing yourself to that which you can never live up to. Yes, we should compare ourselves to Christ so that we can walk as he walked. But when we start comparing ourselves to the things of this world, to the people of this world, to what magazines and advertisements tell us we should be, then we will find ourselves in a very bad situation. You see, we're called to live in the joy and the glory that comes with being his willing servants who trust him to take care of us. Because there is no thing and there is no person who can give you the worth that you need. The only one who can give you the worth that you need. The only one who can truly provide what you need in this life is the one and only God and Father of lights, the one who has sacrificed all for us. He's shown us that he loves us. And he showed us by his Son. He showed us by the salvation he has brought to us. that he calls us to reach out and accept and acknowledge. There's one thing that matters. There's one thing that brings us worth. Let us chase that one thing. Because the rest will largely fall into place once that is taken care of. Your worth will not be decided by your job or lack thereof. It will not be decided by your education or lack thereof. It will not be decided by your children or lack thereof. Your worth is determined by the God who loves you and who we serve. The one who calls us to his side to live with him forever when we follow him. He is the one that calls us. He is the one that brings us worth. Nothing else. And so as you go this week, I encourage you to live in that joy, to live in that understanding that he has given you worth, regardless of what anyone or anything else says. And I want to encourage you this week to spread that good news to a world that so desperately cries out to be worth something. We live in a world where people are constantly crying out for attention or worth or love. And we have it from the only one who can truly give it. So let us let others know and let us live in the knowledge and understanding and joy of that fact. Let's stand and let's sing.